We're about to get started with our session with Tuskegee University.
Tuskegee University.
Excited.
You?
You.
So
You know?
this is going to be a great session. How to get bigger doors open. Come on now.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Facebook Live.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ready, y'all.
You, Tuskegee University.
You representing the Braves tonight, y'all. Representing the World Series champs to be. Hopefully these Braves can bring it. I don't know what y'all Falcons doing. But I'm still a home girl. I'm still a home girl. So again, y'all, we're gonna be talking about opening bigger doors. It was fixed close because I know I can't see. What about that? So what y'all been up?
We could start in 2 minutes, so don't, yeah. All right, I think we will go right ahead and start. And I would like to thank all those in attendance for this seminar series lecture with Mr. Perry Whaley and Ms. Kelly Whaley. I would just say a word or two about them and give them the floor to tell us how to get those biggest doors open for us. And I'll start by introducing Ms. Kelly Whaley. Briefly, she is of Atlanta, Georgia, and founder of Kelly Cares. She is an event organizer, empowering events, serving a higher purpose to change lives, producing and hosting various purpose-filled events. She is also the founder of My Story Publication, LLC, And this publication company offers digital print, magazines, books, articles, blogs, and personal stories that highlight just our everyday, ordinary people who do extraordinary things and not celebrated as they should be. And Mr. Perry Whaley was born in Brooklyn, New York, and he completed his education at Virginia State University. Well, at the age of 25, he developed a skin disease called vitiligo, and this caught attention of the media. And he spent time giving some guest appearances on different television channels and radio programs, such as Atlanta Live, Fox News, WCLK, Kiss FM. And he's somebody extremely passionate about giving awareness to his condition and the challenges of living with it. So both of them have co-founded a mentor and coaching program called Manifest. I will pause right there because I might be saying a whole lot. They have a whole lot to give us and to let us actually enjoy our time with them. Let's hear from them. And all those of you in attendance, don't hesitate to ask your questions. You could post them on chat, or during the Q&A sessions, they will be open to answering our questions. So Ms. Kelly Ragan Whaley and Mr. Perry Whaley, you have the floor.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bill. Thank you, Mr. Bill. Dr. Bill, blessed Dr. Bill. First of all, we want to say that we're both honored and privileged to be amongst you, ladies and gentlemen, this evening. And words can't describe how Kelly and I feel right now. And we just want to say thank you for the opportunity. And we hope that today you will learn something great today to take on your journey as you complete your college education, or for those who are just beginning. And once again, my name is Perry, and I am identified as the vitiligo man of action. And I would like to introduce my wife to you, Miss Kelly Whaley, and I'll let her get the floor.
Hey, y'all, good evening. Good evening. Again, I will reiterate the thanks to you, Dr. Bill, for having us, for your faculty, staff, and your students. We are like overwhelmed and overjoyed to have this opportunity. So we're going to jump right in and get started, y'all. One of the things we wanted to first do was to congratulate the students for even being here. First of all, the congratulations goes to you because, you've made a huge investment in yourselves, number one.
Yes.
And so, taking the step for higher education, that's major. That's huge. And I commend each and every last one of you. Thank you for stepping to the plate. Our ancestors, our forefathers, they're extremely proud of you all, and so are we. And we just want to just give you a round of applause for doing the doggone thing.
Yeah,
okay?
right, all right.
And for those of you who may have missed, we are wearing our caps tonight because we are representing the home team, the Atlanta Braves, y'all. We're doing the World Series thing, okay? So this is just our way of showing a little homage to that. Now, so tonight we are talking about how to get bigger doors open. How to get bigger doors open, because we got some big doors out here, but I tell you what, they're not too big. First of all, they're not too big for God. So that is always my first step. They're never too big for God. So when you are trying to get to the next level, I strongly believe that it all begins with prayer. Number one, always ask God for your next. Always ask God for your next steps. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to briefly mention is that, we both, Perry and I are both passionate about college education.
Life.
We're both passionate about life, for sure. But college education is important just on so many different levels. I went to Georgia State University, And I'm going to say this, and we believe in transparency. He and I both do. But I went to Georgia State University, School of Nursing. But y'all, I didn't finish. I made other choices like getting married, starting a family early. That was a previous marriage. But I bring that up because I want to let people hear and understand that we do strongly support higher education. But I also want to talk to the person who is thinking, well, what if I don't want to go to college? Can I still succeed? Can I still make it? Of course you can. So this conversation is for everyone. It's for everyone. I remember, I was attending a women's retreat a few years ago, and the speaker, she gave this awesome message. And I want y'all to listen to this message, this piece of advice. It simply says, start where you are, use what you got, and do what you can. That's the first piece of advice that I think we can give and stand strongly on it. I'm going to repeat that. Start where you are. What's the other one?
Use what you got.
And
do what you can.
Do what you can. Mm-hmm. Okay. There are 3 nuggets, y'all. Simply 3 nuggets.
Say it again, Kelly.
Start where you are, use what you got, and do what you can. Now, what do I mean by that? What does the author of these quotes, what was really meant by that? Okay, what if you fry chicken? Okay, we're gonna use that as an example. Say you can fry the heck out of some chicken, okay? But you want to pursue entrepreneurship and you feel like, I don't have any skills. I don't have any next level stuff in my life. Y'all, listen, you can do anything you want to do. If you start where you are, when we say fry the heck out of that chicken, start selling chicken sandwiches. And this is a really minor, they call it petty example, but it's very real. You go from selling chicken sandwiches to chicken plates, to chicken platters, to chicken dinners. Next thing you know, you're catering. Next thing you know, you have your own restaurant and you're doing bigger things. I think there's a little technical difficulty. Hopefully you're still there. Wait a minute. Okay, we're back. Little technical difficulty. But my point being is that it doesn't matter what you do. You have to pay attention to the things that you do well, the things that you can do with your eyes closed. Those are the things that I truly believe become part of your gift and part of your purpose. Now, when we talk about moving in terms of, moving towards, opportunities. And before I move on, I want to also give you this other quick example. I was thinking earlier about how there's this awesome story, and this is a little homework for everybody. Google it when you get a chance. But have you all heard of the hotel chain called DoubleTree Hotel? DoubleTree, they have a little unique way that they like to treat their guests. They offer you a cookie, a simple little chocolate chip cookie. And I remember reading the story about, what's up with the cookie? I want you guys to take a moment when you get a chance and really look up this story. But what happened is, just in a nutshell, there's a woman, an African-American woman who wanted, to be successful. She wanted to start her own business. And one of the ways that she wanted to show, her appreciation, she also wanted to get a little attention to show, what I can do. She started baking cookies for the owner. They fell in love with the cookie. The rest is history. I want you to look the story up. It's an awesome story. But now, there are several chains to this hotel. And this woman, of course, she became a millionaire. But I'm just saying, it's the little things, y'all. It's the little things. What is it that you do well? So we want to get into, because I know we're on limited time here, so I don't mean to sound so rushed and so hurried, but we want to get these tips out to you guys. And really, I don't want to sound so textbook-like, but these are some real tips that we truly believe will make a difference. So I want you all to hear this. The first thing we said was, when you're trying to get into the door or gain other opportunities, or better or bigger opportunities, what's the first thing that we recommend you do? Pray first. You pray and ask God for direction. And then you go for it. Go for it. Don't sit on your gifts. Don't sit on your talents. Go for it. Because when you become too comfortable, nothing happens. The second thing
is I'm going to talk about making contacts as much as you can. Now, my wife Kelly she's talking more about the positive things. I like to talk about adversities and success. For me, you want to make contacts. First of all, you want to make contacts as much as you can. You want to read, research, and write down. Knowledge is power. Okay.
What I think what you're saying though here is, it's important to make contacts. It's important that when you're out networking and you meet people. One thing I can say about this gentleman here, I don't care where we go, he makes connections everywhere. He doesn't meet a stranger. I think that's a really good tip. You know, I'm not saying you have to be this major people person. Everybody is not an extrovert. We get that. Everybody is not, you know, somebody who wants to really be in the face of other people all the time. But even if you're in a corner and it's just two of you, don't hesitate to communicate. Everything starts with the conversation.
But
and
see,
I
Kelly,
think you are the conversation king.
I think what I want to go to, I'm gonna hold off right now where we at right now, but I think I want to go to adversity. The adversity has been in my heart today about talking about adversity, because being a college student for me was a struggle. And it started way back in junior high school. And I'm going to talk about adversity to get to success so that people can know bigger doors can open up for you and how they opened up for me. In the 9th grade, I got kicked out of school. I was kicked out of school in the 9th grade, all right, for whatever reason. And I had to sit out a whole year, went back to school. And by the grace of God, I graduated high school. So I could go into more details, but I just want to show you how adversity got me to graduate from high school, because had I got a job at McDonald's at that time, I probably would not have gone back to school to get more education, because I would have felt like I had the things I need, like a little car. I would have been the older guy in high school. Can some of y'all relate to that right now? I'm hoping that some of you can relate to that. And then I want to go on to saying, I was always an at-risk student, meaning I was smart, but I didn't study. And I didn't take school serious until I got into college. And then I was showing my wife recently my transcripts of high school. And I said, whoa, D and E. D, I might have 2 C's and a D. But by the grace of God, through meeting somebody who saw more in me, opened the doors for me to go to Virginia State University, where I excelled as a student, because they taught me at that time how to study. So I'm just trying to say, from adversity to success. I was a student who got kicked out of school. I went to graduate from high school, went to college on below average grades, went to college, became the freshman class vice president, started making grades that were acceptable to the university. And from there on, I moved on to bigger and better things.
But you know what that says to me?
Yes.
It sounds like you remained teachable.
I was.
You remain teachable. And that's one of the other points we wanted to point out. You must remain teachable. In any, don't ever get to a place where you feel like you know it all. You must remain teachable. You must also always put in time for professional development. A lot of times, because we think we're, I won't say, that we think we've arrived, but if we think that we're good students, we're making the grades, you got the GPA popping.
No personality.
It doesn't mean that there's not room to grow and learn more. So always remain teachable. I really believe that's one of the biggest keys to getting to those doors opening, because if you show that you are in a position to learn and to continue learning, it will also allow you to continue growing. I wanted to recap real quick, when we were talking about making contacts, it is important to connect with people. You come across people, you don't ever know who you're sitting next to. You don't ever know who knows who. You don't know who people are. I remember being on a cruise once, and the gentleman just came and he simply asked, okay, can you hold this spot for us? And he had like maybe 9 family members coming. So it was like, sure, we'll watch out for it. And, gentleman came back with his family. We had a little small talk. Well, he ended up sharing that he was the CEO and owner of one of the largest restaurant chains in North Carolina. And, you can never tell who a person is, what they do based on what you see. And, don't ever judge the person sitting next to you or the person in front or behind you. You have not one clue who they are. So always make contacts, always connect, chat a little bit, share a little bit. Got to be careful these days about how much you share, but always be willing to do that. And, again, reiterating, it's important to read, read and read and read some more. It's important to research, do your own homework, and then write it down. Write down what you learned and put it in a space where you can always go back and reference it. Because we say that knowledge is power, but it is. But it's not power if you don't do anything with it.
Now, Kelly, and mind you, let's go, as we're going down on the tips, I just want to remind some of you out there that you're going to have a difference of opinion in reference to how the tips may apply to you sometimes. But we just want to give you a basis of what the tips have done for our lives. So I'm a realist when it comes down to speaking to an audience. I just believe that there are educated people, there are people who are gifted to be collegiate students. There are those who have worked really hard and from their family structures who you never went to college, they never went to college, and you had it a little harder getting into college. So I'm a realist when it comes down to, I'm a realist that we may come to college already broken. See, when we come to college, as a freshman, most people want to come to college and be an adult immediately without any lessons learned. You know what I mean? They just want to come and say, I'm out my mama's house and I now can do what I want to do. And that's when you run into those challenges from my experience in college, because now we all want to say the collegiate life is the right way to go. But I will say this, and I know there are probably some people on the Zoom that might agree with me. There's drugs, there's alcohol, there's homosexuality. Those are all those things that are on the college campus that are never addressed, because you know why? Because we're so often politically correct in our mannerism. But then when you have a babe in the woods and you got a wolf there, he'll eat that babe all the time. And that's the way the world looks at college students sometimes, because they know there's guys in the city of Petersburg that just waited for people to come to school, new freshmen, and eat them up because they did not get the nourishment from coming from home, because they just wanted to be an adult in college. You see what I'm saying, Kelly? So I just want to kind of talk about that.
You're saying to stay focused.
Stay focused. Stay
focused and really pay attention to the reason why you are there. That's important. That's definitely important. One of the other things that we wanted to point out too is that, we always talk about the things you should do and all the things, how we want you to get it right. But the truth is, a lot of times we are getting it right. We are getting it right, but we don't give ourselves enough credit. So I think in the midst of all the tips that we have, I remember I am a former retired public health analyst from the Center for Disease Control. And I started like back in the 80s when I started as a little secretary, but I had gone to a seminar, and one of the things the instructor gave, it was just so powerful. And I just want to share with you, don't have a problem patting yourself on your own back. Pat yourself sometimes. And she gave us this challenge to keep what she called a kudos journal. If you're doing something well, write it down, put a date by it. If someone has given you a high five, like sending you an email, hey, great job, you did well here. Whether it's, one of your professors, a family member, whatever made you feel great about whatever it is you were trying to accomplish. Write it down, because sometimes we need to reference those things, because we will have those challenges where we feel like we're down in the dumps, or we feel like we're not, doing too much of anything. So don't hesitate to track your pats. I say pat yourself on the back. Also,
Dr. Bill, let me ask you a question. Do we have any questions yet from the audience? Do we have any questions?
No, only people enjoying what you're saying. So no questions yet.
Okay. Awesome.
When there is a question, I'll let you know.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Supporting others. When you talk about wanting to be remembered, or when you talk about wanting, people to remember your name, y'all, we have got to start doing more volunteering. We've got to start supporting our brothers and our sisters in activities that they're doing to help our communities. If you see someone who has just launched a new business, support them, because it's important that we support each other. And, I think if you give time and effort, that's really big. I want to touch on volunteering a quick minute. I'm going to always make reference to my career because I was there for 30 years. So that's my life story. But I remember being asked, they were looking for volunteers for a particular work group. And I said, why not? Someone had, schooled me early on. Volunteer as much as you can. Because this is the thing, y'all. You don't ever know who you're going to be in the room with. I wound up being in the room with plenty of doctors, scientists, media personnel. I mean, this was a work group that lasted for years. But what happened is your girl Kelly became known as an expert in and guess what? All I did, I volunteered to be their recorder. I volunteered to take the notes in the minutes to make sure that we captured all of the information that was being discussed. Well, you know what? It ended up putting me on a path of being able to work with senior management all throughout for the rest of my career. Because from that one simple voluntary moment, I learned how to work with senior managers. You just never know who you're in the room with. So don't hesitate to volunteer. Let's see, we're gonna go back up here. Let's see, recognize and identify ways. So, you want to talk about how it's important to identify ways on how you can improve on yourself.
I want to keep it real. I love keeping it real because I know some people on here just want to know the truths about what we're here to talk about today. And my thing is, once again, adversity, because my life has been full of adversities to become successful. So for anybody out there that's listening or viewing, I want you to know that your failures or your trials and tribulations can sometimes lead you to the best success. Now, I'm not saying go out there and do anything wrong, but if you make bad decisions sometimes, and which we all do, and it seems like you're a little bit off course, I'm very adamant about it, making corrections in your life. And for me, what has happened is when I went to college, I got to share this. This is very interesting. I went to college. I did everything I was supposed to do. I got out of school. I was a public administration major, but I got into sales, okay? And I was very good at sales. So for a few years, I was in sales. I was doing really well. And then real life hit me, ladies and gentlemen. Real life hit me. Making bad decisions, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and also my own personal curiosity, because I had my battle with drugs and alcohol at a point in my life. So before I always talked about adversity. So now I've gone to college. I did everything that society said was to do right. And then by the enjoyment of my activities outside of work, outside of taking care of my family, I did some other things that caused me to eventually change my name. Now, all of you know about changing your name, like with Kanye West and all those people, but I had an opportunity to change my name. And I'm going to say this, each and every one of you who are listening has an opportunity to change your name the same way I did if you do the same thing I did. So I'm going to tell you what my name was for 10 whole years. 1904-88. My name was 1904-88. And for 10 years out of my life, that name was the only name that existed to me because I didn't make good, sound decisions after being a college educated person. And what I always talk about adversity is the world will eat you up if you don't take control of your life. Not to say you won't make mistakes, but for me, it took me 10 years of prison, incarceration, where my name changed from Perry, Virginia State University to top salesman to 1904-88 because of the adversity in my life. But mind you, before I went into prison, I was the top salesman in the country. All right. So now this top salesman has to lay down for 10 years. And I'm going to give it back to Kelly. And once again, my name was 1904-88. So forget Perry for a minute and ask yourself, do I want to change my name to 1904-88?
So, you know what? And I'm like, what kind of name is that? I don't want it. I don't want it. But you know what? I actually am to bring that point up because you have to be in a position to recognize and identify ways, your ways, you know, acknowledge, you know, the things that you need to improve on in your life. And, you know, even though he did 10 years, I have never met anyone more teachable, more disciplined, more successful, most lovable. I don't know what went on within those 10 years, but what he did do, he learned and he recognized what he needed to change in his life. And so as you try to climb, you know, this ladder of success, trying to get into these big doors.
Don't sell yourself.
Don't sell yourself, you said?
Don't sell yourself.
Okay. And I say, always be able to identify the areas in your life that you need to correct. And, you know, even if that means, and I know on most college campuses, they have counselors that you can talk to. You know, the big thing that's going on now is finding you a life coach. If you can afford to go to a therapist, you know, lay on somebody's sofa, couch, sit in their chair, do it. Or get you a really good friend who has a great listening ear, somebody who can give you some great counsel. And, you know, you can't talk to everybody, but it's just important that you identify the areas in your life that you need to work on. And then one other thing, I say sound the alarm. When you are climbing and say you have a gift and a talent, I'm gonna tell you, this gentleman right here, my husband, is, I think, a beast when it comes to marketing. You know, when you're good at something and you want the world to know, what do? The first thing we do, we always think that, you know, getting a business card made is the answer to, you know, I'm passing my business card. Anybody, hear me well, anybody can create a business card. And we do. And I am still a little old school. I still like to use my little business card as a calling card. But there are other things I think, you know, that are just as important. Networking, we talked about that already. You know, we say networking, and how can you attract opportunities if you don't let anybody know which door to knock on?
Can we talk about something real quick right there?
Sure.
Okay, I want to share it with you. This is what I want to share with you. When I was in college in 1984, my skin was, I was brown skin. I was fully brown skin all over. So I had the most confidence. I was aggressive. I was everything I was supposed to be. So my point in saying, for some of you who might be on there, who may be insecure about your weight, about your look, about where your hair is, okay? Those things don't truly matter once you learn who you are. Now, to get to adversity to success, about my skin condition, which is called vitiligo, I will share with you how vitiligo has transformed me into having a national group called Vitiligo Man of Action, how it put me on television, how it put me on the radio, how it made me stand out. And like my wife was saying, it always attracted an opportunity for me because people always want to know what was that condition that you had. So baby, I'll move on with that.
I like how you segued into that, y'all. And the thing is, he didn't ask for vitiligo. He didn't ask to be, in this transition of his skin changing. But one thing he did do, he said, well, you know what? If I have it, guess what? I'm going to use it. He has even said to me, I said, well, honey, what if they offer you a drug or medication to turn your pigmentation back to, all brown? He's like, I don't want it. I'm like, what? You don't want it? He said, no, because I have worked very hard to become the man that I am. I guess, you're saying you had to learn to accept whatever fate it was that God gave you. But even though we know that God gives, wisdom to man to learn about the different medicines, he accepted where he was in life and he chose to use it as his platform. And that's, part of what we were saying, whatever you're trying to accomplish, brand the heck out of that, okay? Market yourself. I say we can walk around. Like we're wearing these. I got a Nike hat on. You had a hat on earlier. We wear our nice little, paraphernalia. But be your own brand. Let's do that. How about be your own brand, and then market that. Market that.
And not to cut you off. I want to say this so you can. This is a success and how the big doors open up for you at this moment. Because I had vitiligo, it drew the attention of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and now I am represented by members of the Pittsburgh Steelers team. I am also been allowed an opportunity to participate in a 30-city tour that allowed me to travel and bigger doors opening up for me. Also, I had an opportunity because I had vitiligo to be here today on the platform with Tuskegee University, because Dr. Bill and I had an opportunity to be in the presence of each other and the energy was just there. So I just wanted to kind of.
No, and that's true, but that goes right back to the saying, sounding the alarm. If you don't make a little noise about what it is you're standing for, about what it is you're trying to advertise, about yourself, then nobody will hear your voice. And I mean, I'm talking about put it on a t-shirt, put it on a hat, put a sign on your car. Social media is the perfect platform because it's free TV, is what I call it. And then, go so far as to if you have, say, a class that you want to teach about or a subject matter that you can, really teach about, do a free Zoom class, do a blog or a blog or, do live videos. And just remember that eyes and ears are everywhere. And so don't hesitate to sound the alarm. That is a really big thing. And one other thing, I'm gonna move. We got to move because I don't know why we weren't charged. Okay, we're moving a little forward. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. We have to put the charger on the phone before we lose you guys. So one of the other things is surround yourself with other smart people. You can't be the smartest one in the group, y'all. You got to be around other people who are just as smart as you or smarter, actually. And I think it's, we talk about being around like-minded people. You really should be around people who know a little something more than you. Please do, because that's the only way that you're going to grow. And then when you do that, you allow yourself to gain. Are you back in?
I'm back.
Y'all, excuse us. When you do that, you put yourself in position to continue growing and to continue learning. Let's see what else we got here, because I know we got some questions and some comments. I have something I really want you all to just kind of jump in on. The other thing I wanted to say too, guys, is that please be trustworthy. You got to be trustworthy at all times. Why is that important? Because people will remember that. They're going to always come. To me, it's the key to the comeback. They're going to always remember that they could trust you. So why would I call, Susie Q, down the street when I already know that this young lady over here, this young man over here, they brought it the last time. I feel more comfortable with them. You know what? Let me give them a call back. So it's important to remain trustworthy at all times. Don't change that. Continue being that person that a person or company or an organization can rely on. And even if you do your own thing and become an entrepreneur, you want to be remembered for being that person. And then we have two more points, y'all, and we're gonna wrap it up. But this next point, always have your why ready. What's your why to doing what it is you want to do? Do you all know your why? Do you know why? Do you know why it's important to you? Do you know who it will affect? Whose lives it will change? That's so important. And the reason you need to know your why is because you never know when opportunities are going to come, and you got to be ready. And it's the same thing as having your elevator pitch ready. You've heard them talk about have your elevator pitch ready. Oh my goodness. I think you got to stay ready at all times. And then the last tip, own your own mantra. What's your mission statement? And saying, now when I'm speaking, I'm talking about in terms of who you are personally. It's not about working for a corporation. It's not about working for a company. It's being your own self, your own business, your own brand. So what's your mantra? I'm telling you what mine is. Mine is, and I got this from my late great, my aunt, right before she passed away. It was brilliant, heartbreaking at the same time. But she said simply, she just turned over and she looked at us and she said, do good and be good. And then she turned back over, believe it or not, and she passed away about maybe an hour and a half later. But I couldn't believe it. And I will never forget it. So I use that in my life because it's an important statement. But what's important to you? I want to leave that with you. Always know what your mantra is. Always know what your why is. Those doors are just waiting to be open.
Now, and moving on from there, how much time do we got, Dr. Bill?
Yeah.
We still got plenty of time.
Yeah, you have some. Carry on.
Okay.
Okay, well, I want to use this opportunity, maybe about 3 people. If you know what your why is, I would like to hear what's your why. What is your why? What is your mantra? Or what is your mission statement? I want to know who's ready. Who's ready? Are y'all ready?
And while y'all are answering that question,
are y'all ready?
I want to remind you again about adversity and success, because now, as I spoke to you before, my name was Perry Whaley. Then I changed my name to 1904-88. And guess what? Adversity to success. Today, my name is once again Perry Whaley. In the most successful manner it could possibly be, in the most honorable way it could be, in the most respectable way that it could be. Not to say that I still haven't had any challenging, but I want to say today that I've been out of prison for 21, 22 years. I have become one of the top salesmen in the country. From the time I was released in 2001 to our very existence today, I am now I have a nonprofit organization called the Vitiligo Man of Action. And I just want to say that in reference to no matter what your failures are, you still can open or have bigger doors open because of your adversity. Sometimes people see what I say to them as a strength, because you know what? They might say, man, I'm doing some stuff I'm not supposed to do. But now hearing what you're saying, I don't want to go through that route. So they might change their thinking. So what I want to say is that your thinking is going to allow you to change and be able to open those doors that will sometimes close in your face, because a lot of doors closed in my face. And then I was the type of person that I was determined, and because I had so many failures, I wanted to be determined about being successful. And everything that I asked God for, He allowed me to be able to earn through having the strength and the wisdom to keep getting back up and to change your name from 1904-88 to Perry Whaley.
No, Mr. Perry.
Mr. Perry Whaley.
Okay.
Mr. Perry Whaley. And you know, and it is just a blessing to be able to be in the presence of Tuskegee University.
Oh yes.
and allow you to hear some of the good, the bad, the ugly, and for us and for our parents to know that we're gonna have our own journey. And in our journey, if we fall down, how do we get back up? Don't be afraid to go to your friends and your family because you made a mistake, because they have expectations of you to be great and just breeze through school. And there's not going to be any personal challenge, because I promise you, if you go to Tuskegee University right now, as I went to Virginia State University in 1984 as a freshman, I promise you that somebody on here right now has drank beer, has done drugs, smoked weed, or done some of the things, and maybe realize that ain't the direction I want to go in. Some of you might have some friends who have already gone to jail while you've been in school, while you're supposed to be studying, while you're supposed to be doing the things you're doing. So I just want to remind people that adversity can become success. That's what I want to remind you.
That's good. That's real good. You know what? That just moved and blessed me. I want to remind everybody that, you know, it really isn't about your right now. It's a journey. Life is simply a journey. Keep living. That's what Grandma used to say. Keep living.
Well, tell them your story, Cal.
My story. Well, you know what?
Failures to successes for you.
Oh, it's too many.
Just keep it short.
What I can say is, he told me to keep it short. Let me make sure that we're connected here.
Yeah,
are we still connected?
Yeah, you're
okay.
connected. You're fine.
All right. Okay, great. Listen, you know, while I was listening to Perry, you know, share his story, it really just humbled me because, you know, I get emotional just about life in general, but I'm not going to go into all these details. But what I will say is that, you know, you can never be moved about your right now. Don't be moved by your right now. We have absolutely no idea what God has in store for us tomorrow. You know, I went through I got married at a very, very young age, and but the marriage lasted almost 20 years. But the marriage also wound up being dissolved. And, you know, what I want to say is, out of that marriage, I was still blessed. And so what you have to learn to do is find the blessing in the adversity. So I like that you brought up the word adversity, because what I chose to do is still climb higher. And out of that, I knew that as a new single mom, I needed divorced single mom, I needed a side hustle. And, you know, as time progressed, I founded my organization called Kelly Cares. Kelly Cares wound up being a women's empowerment organization. And all I wanted to do was provide just a platform for other women, mostly, to share their stories. And so what happened is, and I want y'all to hear me good on this, you know, I never, ever set out to do any of this, but under the umbrella of Kelly Cares. Because like I said, remember, keep living, because your journey continues as you keep living. As I continue living, y'all, not only did I form this organization or found this organization called Kelly Cares, under the umbrella of Kelly Cares, I just wanted to do a magazine. I was a magazine junkie as a teenager. So I said, you know, I had an opportunity to start a magazine, an online digital magazine. I did a few prints. So I did a magazine. But before you knew it, I ended up starting my own publications company. Yes, your girl got a publications company, and I laugh about it. And I don't make light of it, but who knew? So with this publication company, I end up writing, you know, my first book. And next thing you know, I write the second book. And then so right now, currently, you know, I have 7 publications, but I'm not saying that in any, you know, way of bragging. What I'm saying is, you never know what your journey looks like until you just live through it, walk through it. And only by the grace of God, you know, was I able to be in that position. And Perry and I became friends years later. He really was my best friend for many years. And then we ended up holding hands. We'll talk about that much later. But in doing so, I published a book, and it's called, my first book, it's called My 3 Husbands. I don't know if you can see that. And this book is Key Points to Know Before Saying I Do.
Very ideal for college students.
It is definitely ideal for
I got married when I was in college.
There you go. He got married. He was
a baby, married,
exactly.
you know. That was my first marriage.
And so we laugh about it because we sat down and talked about it. But the reason we're bringing this up is because, you know, it's amazing to me.
Information.
That, you know, we had no clue that this would end up being our story. And in sharing our stories with each other,
you wrote another book.
Guess what? Bam. So then, Mr. Whaley, you know, we co-wrote this book called My Three Wives. And together we have My Three Husbands and My Three Wives, where we promote lessons learned on choosing a mate and key points to know before saying I do. And there's history behind all that we won't get into right now. That's for another segment. But my point again is that you don't have a clue what tomorrow looks like for any of you.
But you know what I want to, this is the part that where is really important to listen to. You listen to 3 failed marriages, and we're not bashing any of the exes that we had, but I want to say failure to success. This is my last and final time, Miss Kelly Whaley, and I'm her last and final time. But what my point is saying that we found love at the end of a terrible rainbow. The rainbow was cloudy, and
it's the silver lining.
The silver lining. So just to let you know,
not even
don't
talking
give up.
about relationships. Yeah. Don't give up in terms of relationships, but it's in terms of your journey.
Yes.
You know, you just have no idea what's around the corner. Keep living.
And see, I can go on and on and on,
and we won't. but we are extremely grateful. We thank you, Dr. Bill, for this opportunity. Students, faculty, staff, whoever is listening and watching.
Facebook Live.
Thank you. Facebook Live. We thank you for your support. And we hope that we were actually able to just leave you with a few nuggets that you can take with you. You know, like I said before, we can't say we've been on Good Morning America, but God has truly opened some big doors for us. And, you know, we've been featured in a couple of magazines. You know, my husband here, he has been on several of the TV stations here in Atlanta. We've done radio interviews. God has opened big doors, and we expect more and bigger doors to open as well. And so we're standing on these same tips and advice that we're offering. We're taking it as well. So we wish you all the very best.
Tuskegee.
T-U.
T-U.
You know.
You know.
Thank you for that brilliant expose and presentation. And I really think my students and those in the audience enjoyed it. I would really like to know if they have any questions or comments. After listening, I am sure they should have questions and comments. Please do not hesitate. You can use the raise hand function, raise hand, and I would allow you to unmute yourself and ask your questions. Please ask your questions.
Well, guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to hang up now. Mr. Whaley doesn't want to hang up.
No questions?
No questions. It's all good.
But they being shy tonight.
Well, let's at least hope that they gain some nuggets. So.
All right. Somebody sent the chat. All right. I see a thank you for sharing your stories. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you.
I'm having mic problems. The person is having mic problems. Others, thank you very much for your advice.
I had a question.
There is a question.
Dr. Ingrid?
Yes.
I have a question.
Okay. Go right ahead, Farah.
So your biggest
Jelani.
So your advice was to stay trustworthy, right?
Yes.
So why do you say to stay trustworthy? Is it because of your interactions with people and networking, or you say that because of, in a sense of what comes around goes back around?
Hey, I believe you can use both of those examples. But I do believe that, for example, if you are the easiest example, if you're dealing with money, and if an employer feels that they can trust you, that they can leave the building, go home, go on a vacation, and come back on Monday and all is well. That's a very simple example of being trustworthy. But if they leave it in your hands and they come back and all the money is gone and you as well, you know, that reputation is already built. Now that's a really simple example, but it's a straightforward, you know, basically in business, in any type of business, anything that you do, you want to be able to leave them with knowing that, you know, and I keep making reference to myself. My last position at CDC, I worked in the office of chief of staff. I had a very important job, stressful, but it was important. And I appreciated that opportunity. But we had an obligation to the CDC director. Letters, mail, all kind of correspondence came through my hands. And we also had to provide responses. I could have easily, I mean, when I tell you easily, sent any type of response I wanted to. Yeah, we have checks and balances in place, but there's always room for error. There's always room for deceit. You know, you got people in this world that do that. But if I had taken advantage of the opportunity to put out there what I wanted to go out there, it could have put so much shame, and it could have brought down such a negative, you know, connotation on the whole agency. They trusted me. They trusted me. So they trusted me with the first job. So let's see if she can do the second one. They trusted me with the second job. And then you talk about years later, that girl right there, she's an expert in what she does. You know what? Yep, you can trust Kelly. Give it to her. She'll get it done. You want to be able to have that type of reputation wherever you work. I don't care if you're flipping burgers, making sandwiches.
And remember, being trustworthy will open bigger doors for somebody other than yourself. And we'll leave you with that one.
Okay. And before you leave, there is a question from Jelani, who is very appreciative of your advice, but he would like to know what your views are on relationships in college.
Now what? Okay, let me just say my views of relationships in college. This is very interesting because my first year of college, there was no such thing as a relationship.
Oh, Lord.
From a young African-American male, there was no such thing. It was very clear that I don't want a relationship. I just want to meet you. We have fun and we keep it going on. As we went on through our educational levels, relationship, but for me personally, a bad decision, and we all are grown up here, not using condoms, allowed me to get married while I was in school. So I would say relationships are good.
It allow you, it put you in a position.
It put me in a position to get married. So I would say at that time, relationships was bad in school of falling in love.
Well,
I would say for me it was, because I didn't come there to fall in love. Came there to get an education.
You sure did, but you know what? I have a different opinion on that.
Okay, that's a woman's opinion.
It may be. This is what you call that.
And let's hear the woman's opinion.
I personally, okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I am also known as the lovepreneur. I am a certified relationships coach. So good question. I believe that, you know, we were wired for this thing called love. We were wired for relationships, all of that. But it's all about making good, good decisions and having good judgment. And yeah, you go to school to get an education, and you should definitely stay focused. It has its pros and cons, but I think you need to use wisdom. If you know that you're going a little too far and you can't seem to focus on your studies, you may need to table that relationship, yes. Back up. Or you may need to tell yourself, if it's your first year, you definitely, need to let's get a handle on being a college student first.
But remember, Kelly, all those emotions and feelings are a part of your educational journey. And you're going to have to do that in order to be a better person in society, because you're going to have failed relationships and good ones. So that was a good question.
You're going to do that in college, out of college, all of that.
Yes.
So yeah, just take time, to assess what's going on around
Make
you.
good decisions.
And remember what's most important to you. Are you there to get your MRS degree? Or are you there to get your BS, your MD, whatever degree you are there for? And it depends on how bad you want it. Do you really want it? So remember the things that could be distractions. Distractions, that's another subject, but distractions are real. So keep a handle on your distractions. That's a good question.
Okay. You have so many thank yous from the participants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanking you for the wisdom you've shared. I appreciate you sharing, taking your time to share your wisdom with them. And
thank you again for having us.
They really enjoyed everything.
Thank
you. So at this point, if we don't have any questions from the audience, I would ask you each to give the last word, and then we tell everybody bye-bye.
Well, again, we want to thank you for having us. Tuskegee University.
Yes.
I'm just really elated to have had this opportunity. If there's anyone, and I will offer and extend this offer to your students, if there's anyone who would like to chat, in terms of relationship, life coach, I give you a session, a free session, we can chat, because you know what? Being in college, it's not always easy. It's hard. So you can reach me at Kelly, that's Kelly, at kellycares.com. Cares is spelled with a K, so that's KELLYKARES.com. So reach out if you would like to chat. I'm also, and this is ministry for me as well. So, it's not about the dollar all the time. I have a passion and a heart for our young people, our young adults, and I want to see you succeed. Stay focused, get rid of the distractions, y'all.
Now, for me, I'm going to give you something that I think works for me each and every day. I'm going to say opportunity and energy breeds success. That means be at 100 as much as you can. Being at 100 means making good decisions, doing the right thing by people, and being in the right places at the right time. So opportunity and energy breeds success. And for all the young males who may need some inspiration, you can just email me at perrywhaley136@gmail.com and just email me and I'll get back to you. And I'm gonna say to Tuskegee University, this is my second time having the opportunity to be a part of the TU family. And it's been an honor, Dr. Bill, for you allowing me and my wife to do this together. And Tuskegee University, there's a lot of history Dr. Bill showed me there's nothing. And maybe one day when the pandemic is over, my wife can get a chance to come down and hang out with Dr. Bill and see what the wonderful campus of TU is all about.
Looking forward to it.
And thank y'all so much for all the love tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you.
So you have a blessed and wonderful one.
Have a great evening.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank y'all for watching.